Hello YouTube, what is up? Welcome to my first painting tutorial. Today I will show you how I painted the scratches and battle damage on my Shadespire Orc armor. I wanted to start with something quick and easy to see if I can make all of this recording stuff work as I intend to. I painted those models to a tabletop quality without using any advanced techniques and blendings, so it will be rather easy to follow along. Let's start with a quick recap of what I have done to the armor up to this point. I started with airbrushing all of the parts that I wanted to be orange with scale 75 Tiamat orange from their fantasy and games range. I like working with their paints, they are very good for airbrushing, the pigment is good quality and is grounded very finely, so the paint goes through the airbrush without issues. For airbrush use I thin my paints with water and a bit of Vallejo flow improver. After the armor was base coated, I blacklined it with Citadel Rhinox hide to add some definition to the armor and separate the individual panels. Paint was diluted to make it semi-transparent, as I did not want the effect to be too pronounced. I added some simple geometric patterns to some of the armor panels with scale 75 black to make it more visually interesting. I diluted the paint with a mix of water and Liquitex flow improver. This is my go-to mixture for paint dilution. I use it almost always when I paint with a brush. It makes your paint flow more easily and works great when painting thin and precise lines. I painted 2, sometimes 3 layers to achieve full opacity. After I saw the footage I recorded, I noticed that in some parts there was still some orange base coat showing through, so I fixed it off camera after I already finished recording. So now we are getting into the fun part of painting all of those scratches. I used a mixture of scale 75 Tiamat orange and Schminke titanium white. In my opinion this is the best white paint you can get. It's way better than any miniature specific white paint I've ever used. It is thick and creamy with a very good pigment quality, it does not dry chalky like most of the other whites do, it dilutes very well. I can highly recommend it, but you can obviously use any white you want. Painting all of these scratches is rather easy, just use a brush with a good tip. I myself use Raphael 8404 size 2 for most of my painting, but for this kind of work I often switch to my old Winsor & Newton Series 7 size 0, as it allows me to paint very thin lines more easily. I painted small dots and lines on the edges of the panels and other places where the armor would get scratched easily, trying to randomize their length and thickness. You do not have to be really precise, as being a bit sloppy will actually increase the randomness of the scratches. Just continue doing them on all of the armor and then you can move to the next step. After I painted all of the bright scratches, I added some depth to them by painting a smaller, darker scratch inside of the brighter one with a mix of scale 75 black and Citadel Rhinox hide. This is the part where having a fine tip on your brush is really helpful, as at this point you have to be precise. I sometimes added just a dot, sometimes line, it all depends on the size of the brighter scratch. When it is really tiny, you do not have to make it darker, just make sure you fill all of the bigger scratches. As the last step, I painted a small dot inside of the bigger scratches with scale 75 speed metal, which is a bright silver paint. The reflective nature of metallics will make them appear even more three-dimensional. This is how the model looks, with all the scratches painted. I did not paint the whole model as I plan to do a separate tutorial about painting the cloak. Thanks for watching, like if you liked, dislike if you did not like. I plan to release a movie every 2 weeks at minimum, so subscribe if you want to see more, and feel free to share this tutorial everywhere you like. See you next time.